Hello ratbags, it's Jade with another Zealots guide. Today showing you the location of Osgar. This guy is fairly close to Ravensthorpe. He really isn't too far away, but he is going to be a level 220 and it is in the Lincolnshire region, so that's like level 160. He's pretty tough. He's got a sword, hasn't got the shield, so he's not as hard as some of the worst ones. I think the ones with the shields are definitely the most troublesome. But yeah, I'm going to show you how I took him out using a different method today, different weapon set than I normally go for. So I hope you like these videos. Go and check out the rest of them. Really taking off some of these. Let's go. So before we get onto the main part of taking on this Zealot, which is actually in Lincolnshire, I am going to be in East Anglia showing you where to get the Carolingian sword. I've already got the Carolingian armor set that you get by linking your Amazon Prime account. It's a mythological armor set, so I highly advise you get it early on, and it's a great armor set to have. You also get a shield and a spear, but if you want the sword to go along with it, you need to be in this location and clear out this little fort area or little bandit camp. The sword itself is a two-handed sword. It isn't that great. It gives you more critical damage after doing a finisher, and I don't necessarily think you're going to need much critical damage if you're already doing finishers on most of your enemies, but there you go. It does kind of match the rest of that armor set, and this is what we're going to be using today because I wanted to try mixing it up instead of just relying on the axe method, which I have been, which is two dual wielding axes, holding L1 or LB and then using my abilities, because it increases your adrenaline massively, and then you go ahead and just keep spamming your abilities on Zealots and stuff. Anyway, I'm so sorry if I'm saying that to everyone that's been watching these Zealot videos, but I've got to presume that I'm catching hopefully some new time viewers, and you may not know about that method as a good one or a viable one. So yeah, we're in Lincolnshire, which is just at the top of East Anglia, and this is where you're going to find this Zealot. You can see he's there. It's just past the Abbey there, across the water. Really not too far away from Ravensthorpe at all. So as I said, I wanted to mix it up a little bit. I'm trying out a shield and sword method instead of them axes, and I am going to use my mythical stuff. So yeah, it's going to give me a bit more bonus. You can see I've still got a fair few amount of items that are still only just superior, not flawless or mythical, so I still think it's a bit of a challenge. The benefit of this armor is that you get more armor at low health, and when you've got the complete set, you get more damage, I think, when you're hitting or you've got high life. The runes, I've gone for a mixture this time of resistance and health instead of always just being everything health. I've got a few decent resistance ones now, so it's worth it, or bulwark ones. Now you'll actually find this guy in a sort of drowned abbey. I love these places, they're so atmospheric, and there is a mysterious event here as well. Crowland is where you're going to be heading. You can see he's kind of guarding or knocking at the door. I don't know if I was meant to trigger something maybe beforehand. I'll show you what happens afterwards when you defeat him. You'll come across a bunch of scavengers basically, or ravengers, but it felt like there should have been a little bit more story. Maybe I just missed the cut, as I could hear someone saying something from within the church. That's what it sounded like anyway when you got close, and then there was no one in there other than an ambush, but we'll get to that in a second. When it comes to defeating him, yes, he is a bit of a tougher bugger. This one I found quite challenging, and for sure mixing it up with a brand new shield and sword combo that I'm not used to is definitely hard work. Also, using bow and arrow at this stage, don't bother. You may do a bit of stun damage on him, so you can go and maybe get one swipe in, but you can see it didn't do exactly that much health, and then it switches and you realise that you're really not taking much health at all. It's okay. I thought I was doing alright. I thought this was ended up going to be really cheesy and easy, but Osgar had other ideas. Obviously he's got his sword, no shield here, so he's not particularly as hard as some of the other ones like Aerophine and stuff, but he did end up taking me out. Now I've got a fair few skills, like I'm pretty high level now, I'm like 170, so yeah, he does hit with a big punch. I did end up using a lot of my health here early on, and he did end up taking me out because I just wasn't ready. I wasn't using the parry. I was trying to really see if you can do a lot of parrying. You can see he's got 4 or 3 swings there. Definitely going to be a lot longer than you think it is sometimes. He also switches the swing aim of it as well, so it really does do a fair amount of damage even if you think you managed to get out of the way of it. I always show you guys my fails, and yeah, you can see I just got maybe a little bit too complacent, and I definitely wasn't experienced enough with this set. He is still level 220, so significantly bigger than me anyway, so I still think this is a fairly decent challenge, and the area is 160, so that's the kind of levels you should be thinking about if you come in here. So this time I've just fired some shots. I was trying to see if I could get his weak points. I am just terrible with the bow. I think I really need to mix it up to a light bow. Light bows in this instance will do a lot. Like firing them off rapidly is a lot better when you've got combatants really close. I'm going to keep my hunter bow for definitely when I'm more at range and try and take people out. But I eventually managed to get one hit in, and it takes away a huge amount of damage. So it's definitely worth it. More so than some of the other zealots. I find that really did the job, and he's half health nearly already. And I haven't yet to use one of my health packs, although he's about to change that. I finally started getting a bit better with my shield, obviously after a failed Valkyrie dive. That's still my favourite ability. I know everyone loves the harpoon one, but it's just not me. This one, it feels like he's getting either a damage boost or a speed boost or something, because I wasn't taking any damage being in this cloud, so it's definitely something for him that he's going to get an advantage from. I got a bit jelly of his yellow cloud, so I thought I'd activate my fire sword, and yeah, we just went toe to toe, and it kind of felt good being able to defeat one of these with not just the same method, actually having a bit of a maul and trying to use my shield a little bit more. Like I said, I'm not that great with it, but I am going to try and get better. But here you go, he's pretty much down and dusted. A few more swipes, a few more hits, and he'll be gone. Literal swap in there. The fast dodge is still something you really need, like the slow motion skill. Pretty much needed for everything in these instances. But there we go, we took him out.
Offa betrayed us all, Indira. Now we crawl about for the scraps. Whatever crumbs you leave behind after your raids.
You wish you were a raider, a dringer.
Yes.
Farewell, sword cloven.
There we go, done and dusted, another zealot taken care of. So I did say I'd talk through what happens in the Abbey as well, because like I said, it felt like just something wasn't triggering properly. So I went inside, eventually found the entranceway to it, and there is a strange sort of chair. You can go in through the windows, and you can see there's a throne. Definitely looks like a Ravager place, so I know there's going to be these types of enemies. But I then started saying, is someone there? Like I could hear someone. I could hear them talking, but I couldn't actually see them, and it wasn't really triggering someone was like popping up. You pretty much have to go and take a little seat at the chair here, the throne, and then that's when it triggers. You've got some enemies incoming.
Hard as stone. The stench is ripe.
You! How dare you! Crolan's throne belongs only to the one true King of Briars.
So I don't know if I gave the right response here, it would actually maybe trigger something where I could get away with not having a fight, but it didn't really feel like it, as the guys that popped up were pretty tough. Now there were a couple decent elites here, so yeah, you have got to be ready, especially after fighting a zealot. If you hadn't managed to get enough health mushrooms or anything like that, or berries, you could find it quite troublesome. So make sure you do get your health built up before you go into here, just in case you haven't saved it or something goes wrong. So you go, it keeps flooding, loads of dudes, frying this stuff as well, which is pretty deadly. You can see it's taking a lot of damage away. Maybe that was the clouds that the zealot had. Like I said, it didn't seem to be doing me too much damage. I went go ahead with my flaming. Yeah, this guy, the man at arms, was pretty tough. I found him a lot tougher than I thought maybe I should. And again, using my new armor set, but eventually I got the hang of it. Slow motion still for the win. Flaming sword, setting him alight, and I've got nearly to half health. But you can see I've not got as much health as I would normally like. It's nearly running out. I'm down to my 0 already, and 3 of them are about to take me out. So it's definitely a challenging one, this one. Eventually though, when you go ahead and defeat them all, you will find a eagle vision point very close by. So obviously you can go and do that above you. But that was it. There wasn't really much other reward. I was kind of hoping there'd be something a bit more decent. Other than some silver, some iron ore, and maybe some cloth. That is all that was up there. There we go, the King of Shitsby mysterious event completed. I thought I'd chuck that in there as it was pretty much on the doorstep. 1200 XP. I am Jade. I hopefully finding these guides a bit useful. If you are, let me know, and I'll see you ratbags for another Zealot guide later on.